You know, one game I know you are just dying to watch this Saturday is going to be UCLA and Oklahoma. Oklahoma going to the Rose Bowl. Jim, what do you see? I mean, UCLA 0-2, Oklahoma 2-0. I mean, I heard it's so bad they're giving away free tickets.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got a top 5 team coming to your stadium and you're giving tickets away. I mean, Chip Kelly's, was already on the hot seat, 0-2, because this is not what they signed up for when they brought him in. And this, on paper, looks like this could be 0-3. I mean, Oklahoma's 23.5-point favorites over these boys. Points per game, Oklahoma 59.5 points per game, UCLA 14. Points allowed, Oklahoma's giving up 22.5, UCLA's giving up 23.5. They're giving up more than they score. Passing yards, Oklahoma's averaging 377 yards passing. UCLA's only averaging 177 yards passing. Rushing, Oklahoma's averaging 332 yards rushing, which leads the nation. And UCLA's only averaging 62 yards. Total offense, UCLA averages 239.5 yards.
that ain't good.
Oklahoma averages 709 yards.
So 3 times as many,
Double. Almost, yeah. Wow. Defense, now this is where, because Oklahoma's ranked 74th in total defense, so they're not that good. But passing yards allowed, Oklahoma's allowing 218 yards. UCLA's averaging 267. Oklahoma's giving up 160 yards rushing a game. UCLA's giving up 127. Oklahoma's allowing 378 yards, and UCLA's giving up 395. But, a lot of that come with Houston's quarterback gouged them for over 100 yards. These stats, you just look at them, man. They're just like Oklahoma's on a 20-game true road winning streak. They have, the 5th best rushing attack in the nation at 332. 6 Oklahoma running backs are averaging over 7 yards a carry, man. What is... And all anybody talks about is their their passing. Well, they're just running them. But their leading rusher on their team is their quarterback.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb, that's an NFL wide receiver there, Oklahoma's guy.
And the way that the media, the way Fox is promoting it, it sounds like 250 teams. But then you look at the stats, and you're like, UCLA lost to
Cincinnati Bearcats
and San Diego State.
Okay.
And then, Chip Kelly, he is in a hot seat, and this could be a mid-season move after this game. I don't think anyone's going to get fired on the airplane tarmac. Yeah, but
I don't think Pat Hayden is the what is he? AD over there at UCLA, so he probably don't have that. But maybe the game's caught up to him. Maybe he just can't recruit there. Who knows? He don't have Phil Knight in his back pocket, like he had out there at Oregon. So, yeah, man, who would have thought this? These boys may lose that game, and their AD may be calling up Todd Graham or somebody, to get them to come in there and bring some discipline to this. But to me, I think UCLA is going to have to run the ball at least 75% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
They can't try to get in there and outscore Oklahoma because
it's not possible.
But if you can run the ball all the time, 70% of the time, keep their offense on the sidelines. Just chew up the clock, limit Oklahoma's possessions, then you can beat them. Mm-hmm. Like Army almost had them last year. Oklahoma only got the ball 3 times in the second half. So, these guys definitely have more athletes than Army does.
Right.
But they don't run the same style offense. But I would look for their quarterback who's not that good. Look for a lot of RPOs, run pass options, and only pass it if the guys, don't try to go anything over 15 yards.
Now, you've watched Oklahoma last 2 games or seen their stats. Where have they improved on from last season, this season that you like or don't like? Or what do you need? What do you think they kind of need to focus on to beat UCLA?
Well, to show up. No, but Oklahoma's very vulnerable on their offensive line at their left tackle. I mean, Swinson's got a hurt shoulder. They don't know if they want to put Proctor, who's the graduate transfer. They're weak. They could be weak there. They're playing a lot of youngsters on that offensive line. They just sent 4 guys to the pros. And, they only have 1 starter, and these guys are all sophomores and redshirt freshmen pretty much. And, these boys are going to grow up in a hurry. And, I mean, their offensive line coach, Bill Bedenbow, tore them a new one this week because he thinks they're underperforming. Now Oklahoma, they're not doing that 2-gapping anymore. They're not catching defensive linemen and reacting. They're getting in the gaps and they can be gashed. Mm-hmm. But and if UCLA has tall receivers, Oklahoma's secondary is not that tall. But they got some guys that are playmakers. I mean, they had some turnovers last week. They're stripping the ball, intercepting, tackles for losses. They're doing that. But when they miss a tackle, these boys are off to the races a lot of times. These are 10, 20, 30-yard gains down the field. So, like I said, it could be ugly, but it's a first road game for Oklahoma. To go out there to. That beautiful
sunny
88 degrees at kickoff. I mean, man, what else could you want? It's a road trip. But this one could be ugly. But I think the main thing on this is seeing what happens if UCLA does get embarrassed. Will the athletic directors at UCLA say, okay, we've seen enough, or will they just let him ride out the season? I mean, because they're pretty. I mean, this is UCLA. This is Troy Aikman.
Right.
This is Freeman McNeil. There've been some great players come out of here. Maurice Jones-Drew. I mean, was littered with NFL prospects at once upon a time, and now,
certain the boosters will definitely voice their opinion on the season. And you never know.
And especially if USC is truly back, if they come out of here beat BYU and they're 3-0, and then their crosstown rivals 0-3 and just got embarrassed on national television, then like you said, the boosters may start chirping. Hey, we need to make a change right here. But yeah, a lot of it may just be talent. I mean, because like you said earlier, Chip only lasted 1 year in San Francisco. After he got run out of town out of Philadelphia. So, like I said, maybe if the playing field's equal, he's not all that great. When he had that advantage of all the uniforms and the Nike stuff to help, and had the street agents over here in Texas going and getting players for him, helping him recruit. Yeah, that makes a difference. Then the next one we have, Michael, we're going to be talking about Alabama play the South Carolina Gamecocks. On paper, this one looks pretty ugly, man. Yep. Again, here we go. I mean, Alabama averaging 52 points a game. South Carolina's averaging 46.
Yeah, but being a team 72-10, that kind of helps your points per game. And he lost to North Carolina in week 1. I mean, and this is Alabama's first road game of the year.
Yeah, SEC game, so they're finally playing somebody. It's not considered kind of in a directional school, but Alabama's only given up 6.5 points a game. South Carolina gives up 17. Alabama's passing for 326 yards a game. South Carolina's passing for 212. Alabama's rushing for 231 yards a game. South Carolina's actually rushing for 310. Total yards aren't that far apart. I mean, Alabama's averaging about 557.5 yards a game, and South Carolina's averaging 522 yards. Passing game, here's allowed. Alabama's only given up 129 yards passing a game.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yep, and South Carolina's given up 220. Alabama's only given up 104 yards rushing. And South Carolina's pretty stingy too. They're only giving up 155. But listen to this total yards allowed per game. This is just mind-boggling. Alabama's only giving up 233 yards a game. And South Carolina's giving up 375. I know the South Carolina fans are hoping back to 2010 when they upset a dominant Alabama team, but this one could get ugly too because, this is, statistically speaking, the best quarterback Nick Saban's ever had at Alabama.
Right.
So, anytime you're talking about a guy who could be the first pick in the draft, this one could get ugly quick. But big, there's going to be a big hostile crowd. I mean, I don't know how much that'll play into it. South Carolina does have one loss, and I mean, who'd they beat? Charleston or somebody?
Yeah,
just wasn't a lot of
72 points they scored. It wasn't it was not even fair.
Right? Yeah, I get it. And that, those misleading stats and stuff. But this is certainly a test if you want to see where you are on the map. Just invite Alabama to come play you. If you're a Division I team, maybe they'll show up. If you're in a Power 5 conference, otherwise they don't like playing too many Power 5 teams out of conference. They always talk about their, the SEC team. Or, we play this gauntlet, They only play 8 conference games. Some of these, the Big 12 plays 10.
Right.
I mean, they have 9, they play everybody. Everybody plays everybody. So this nonsense about a gauntlet, man. You wait, what is it, in November, they'll be playing somebody like Samford or something, no.
Not Stanford.
No, not Stanford, Samford or some directional school somewhere. But, so this will be a little bit, step up in opponents for Alabama. But like I said, they should be able to name their score on these guys.
And I mean, once again, another game. It looks like another blowout.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this week is just going to be kind of a blowout city. The games that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of know what's going to happen with the Oklahoma game. We kind of know what's going to happen with the Penn State game.
And yet we have one more game to talk about, and we'll get to that one right now.
Jim, our last night game that we're going to be talking about is Clemson traveling to Syracuse. Jim, what do you expect in this game?
Blowout.
Well, we all kind of knew that, but can you?
Yeah, let's just look at some of the stats here on this. Syracuse averaging 38 points per game. That was brought down because of A&M. Syracuse averaging 22 points a game. Points allowed. Clemson's only averaging 12, only giving up 12 points a game. Syracuse is giving up 31. So they're giving up more than they're scoring. Total yards per game offensively, Syracuse is only producing 384 yards a game, and then Clemson's producing 510 yards. Clemson's averaging 244 yards a game passing. Syracuse is averaging 253 yards. Yards rushing, they're even more dominant. They're averaging 266 yards rushing. Syracuse is only averaging 131. Yards allowed, this is a big one. Clemson is only allowing 291 yards a game, whereas Syracuse is averaging 442 yards a game. Passing yards allowed, this is a telltale sign right here. Even just playing Texas A&M, still Clemson's only averaging 186 passing yards allowed, whereas Syracuse is allowing 267 yards. Rushing yards allowed, Syracuse is averaging 175 yards against them, while Clemson's allowed 105.
So this week we got a lot of interesting blowouts. Still going to be good football if you like your team to win, but I think this weekend's going to be called blowout weekend.
Yeah, I mean, as we went down the top 25 list, we just couldn't really find any compelling games. Some of the ones we picked out were rivalry games, and some of them were just old time favorites.
Well, guys, make sure you like our page, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that. This is VIP Sports Night. Have a great night.